Eliminate any other option besides that exact goal or dream. Now, everybody and their mom has a degree. Most office jobs are bull and you can do everything remote. It's the worst. It's the worst. So this one is careers have changed how money works. Thank you, by the way, to everybody sending these in. These are awesome. And if you haven't already, let me go to the top linked comment in the chat. If you guys want to submit episodes for the stream or even articles too, we can read articles. By all means, submit a wide variety, anything that would be interesting. Let's keep going. So we know how careers are changing. A lot of the younger side of the working generations do not stick with a job for more than 2 years. They do not become corporate slaves and stick it out for 20 plus years.
You were born, you are nurtured up to whatever, you're 6, then you get sent in the kindergarten and school, and by the time you're 18, you come out and you go to college. By the time you get out of college, you get a job, and then you retire with whatever, 65 or so, and then you enjoy your retirement somewhere at a hot place, right? That's been the model of the past. That's not working. That is absolutely not working anymore in every respect.
Go to school, get good grades, get into college, become a professional, and work your way up the corporate ladder until you can retire with your savings or a pension. That's the plan for a lot of people, and despite what a lot of hustle bros on the internet might tell you,
now that's f***ing insane.
It's a good plan if you can stick to it. 9-to-5 jobs are picked on a lot, usually by people that need a way to sell a get-rich-quick scheme. The standard 40-year professional career has let millions of people enjoy very comfortable lives free from the stress that comes with being in business for themselves. But that is all coming to an end. In just the last 24 months, we have experienced quiet quitting, quiet hiring, work shortages, and labor shortages. What a lot of people aren't talking about, though, is how this is just the result of companies still trying to make outdated business models work in an age where workers can demand more from their employers. The establishment of the 40-year career is crumbling, and there are some employers and employees that are doing a great job taking advantage of it, and there are others that are suffering. The first trend is that despite pervasive stories about hustle culture and people making partner before the age of 30 while also building an outside business that dropships physical NFTs through the MySpace storefront, the average...
By the way, when they say that the workforce has changed, how could it not? We've essentially sent kids to school on a government-backed loan that they can't even get rid of. So when the government steps in, tells everybody that they will loan out money, it's guaranteed. And so now everybody and their mama can get a loan that they may not be worthy of getting, and they go to school to get the dumbest degree. So now everybody and their mom has a degree. And so having a bachelor's doesn't mean anything anymore. You need a master's, and having a master's doesn't mean anything. You need something else. And by the time you're ready to go to work for a job, you don't have the experience needed anyway, because they're not teaching you the shit you really need to learn. And it doesn't really apply to the job you're applying for. They have to retrain you for the actual job and what it's really like. Because what you learned in school is nothing like the actual business in real life. It's wild, dude. NXer, thanks, brother. I'm a person that believes in the biblical account of history, but it's interesting that it does line up with what you're saying. Thank you, brother.
Worker is not grinding. They are getting less ambitious. A Wall Street Journal article surveyed a range of businesses in demanding fields that are usually staffed by ambitious workers like law, business consulting, and marketing. The companies all reported challenges with getting their employees to go above and beyond, which is really corporate speak for working late and coming in on the weekends. A law firm told the Wall Street Journal reporters that typically they would have no problem getting junior associates to do extra hours to make sure time-sensitive work was completed for their demanding clients. But now, new associates have started saying no to working weekends and late nights, which is forcing the partners to bring on more staff and do the extra hours themselves. Which, let me say this, as a former...
Why would you be loyal to a company when they're not loyal to you? You were told that if you just go to college, you're going to get a job that's going to be consistent, stable in your life until you're dead. And you're going to be able to retire with a happy nest egg. That's not true. We've seen it over and over again. Corporations treat people... The fact that corporations have gotten so large and have gotten in bed with government where they could do whatever they want, they throw you away. You're nothing. They cut and they downsize departments left and right. Corporate raiders will come and chop up a company into little pieces and sell off the profitable bits and toss away the rest. Nobody cares. You don't get a golden parachute when you get fired or your entire department disappears just because they want more profits at the top. The board has to constantly answer to investors. They don't answer to employees. Everything that a company does is investor driven, not employee driven. It's profits above everything else. So when a company sends the message out of profits before people, why would somebody, an employee, give a shit about being loyal to any company? Don't believe me? You can't even talk in America. For those that don't know, they actively discourage employees from talking about salary with one another. They don't want you finding out how much the next man makes. Isn't that insane? And you're supposed to show loyalty to a fucking faceless corporation where you're 50 bosses removed from the CEO. They don't give a shit about you. And at the next convenience for them, will cut you completely. What? Yes, no shit that the younger generation has seen through this facade and go, yeah, no, we're good. I'm going to work probably 2 years max, skip jobs for the rest of my life because you won't give me a promotion. You won't raise my salary like getting a whole new job would. Yeah, of course. And we're turning into a gig economy anyways. Most jobs that you used to get that were full-time are now turning into part-time jobs because they don't want to even pay for your health insurance.
For investment banking associate that has put in my fair share of weekends to suck up to a partner, this is one of the most beautiful things I have ever heard.
It's wonderful. It's marvelous. I'm squeaked.
This kind of thing would never usually happen at places like this because elite legal and financial firms have an up or out policy with new associates, which means that within their first 2 years, they get promoted to senior associate or they get asked kindly but firmly to leave the firm. Unfortunately for the partners, they can't afford to get rid of new graduates because of worker shortages, so they have lost the threat of termination and the reward of promotion isn't as appealing as it once was either. In the same article, an insurance firm told the Wall Street Journal of the difficulties they had been having with getting people to accept promotions. Managers often had to coax their staff into accepting more senior positions because the staff were preferring to stay in their current roles where they could manage their work-life balance. When workers are more afraid of being promoted than being fired, it's a clear sign that things are changing. So it's time to learn how money works to see why the 40-year career is dead and why that might be a good thing. This week's lesson was made possible by Course Careers. Home. By avoiding the distractions of the modern office, a lot of people realized that the tasks that they were completing as a part of their jobs were that of what the anthropologist David Graeber would consider complete bullshit. Most of the office jobs had workers performing tasks that fell into one of the following categories outlined in the book by the same name. Flunkies who only serve to make their superiors feel important, i.e. receptionists, administrative assistants, and doormen. You don't need someone to hold the door for you when everybody is working from home, and a sales platform switching board could do most of the day-to-day work of a receptionist. Box tickers who only exist to create the appearance something useful is being done, like creating company newsletters or organizing company culture events. And taskmasters, who exist to make themselves look busy by standing over their subordinates to keep them on task, but only ever end up distracting those workers or slowing them down because they themselves don't want to look like they have nothing left to do. Most jobs in the modern office involve doing some of these tasks, but by working from home, there's less need for them to exist. A lot of employees very quickly found out that they did not need 40 hours or more in the office every week to get their work done. They could just finish it in half the time, and all the other hours were wasted on pointless meetings that could have been an email and any of the other bullshit tasks that modern workers partake in. Work from home did not get rid of the goons, who were people like corporate lawyers who only exist to protect the company from other goons, or the duct tapers, who are the people that spend all of their time fixing the problems of everybody else. So if you want bullshit job security, try and make yourself one of these. For the employees that found a whole lot of extra hours in their day, they now had to decide what to do with it. An internal survey of 3,000 workers conducted by the software firm Qualtrics has shown what it was that people decided to do. 40% said that work had become less important to them in the past 3 years, and that they would prefer to spend the extra hours exercising, cleaning their home, going for a walk, or sleeping when they had the opportunity to. 25% said that work had become more important to them, and that they would look for additional responsibilities to take on in the spare hours. Most of all, 36% said that their career ambitions had waned, and that the typical progression of climbing the corporate ladder had become less important to them over the past 3 years. Those are some pretty smart workers, and it was creating the same problem that the prestigious legal firms and investment banks were complaining about too. Most people are no longer willing to work extra hours and accept additional stress to chase a promotion, and a lot of workers won't even accept a promotion if they are offered one because climbing the corporate ladder is not as appealing as it once was. There are 4 reasons that business analysts have identified as the leading causes of this trend. The most damaging to traditional corporate culture is that people no longer see the financial benefits of moving up the corporate ladder. Typically, managers and senior executives earn more than their subordinates, but modern salespeople, tech workers, and tradespeople are bucking that trend, especially in high-demand industries. A lot of workers are preferring to reskill into an
You hear that? Trades, boys. Making executive pay. Did you hear that? Did you catch that little part? Instead of being a corporate cuck in your little cubicle, typing away doing shit work that has absolutely no impact on the company, and you're replaceable at the drop of a hat, you might as well get a trade job and actually start earning real good money and you actually have a difference in what you do. Literally, your proficiency depends on it.
In-demand role, where they can earn variable compensation based on the overtime hours.
And they're not going to build a robot that's going to go out and fix the power lines yet. They're not going to build a AI robot that can do plumbing in a house. The trade jobs are going to be safe for a lot longer than all the other shit in a corporate office that they're going to automate real quick.
Hours they put in and the performance they achieve. People with experience in tech, pharmaceuticals, or finance could become managers, or they could cross-skill into sales and become salaried plus commission reps. They will get a lower base wage, but even average performers can earn $250,000 to $500,000 a year in commissions, putting them well ahead of any mid-level manager in the same industry. Doing a role where they are not responsible for the performance of any subordinates also means that they are free from the stress of dealing with workers who don't want to put in any overtime or work towards getting a promotion. Instead, they are only responsible for themselves and their work. If they want to make a lot more money one month, they can hustle like crazy and work on closing more sales or doing more overtime. If they want more work-life balance, they won't be letting down a team beneath them. Skilled, non-managerial roles in certain fields and sales roles are also safer during financial slowdowns as compared to middle managers. A company can operate without team leaders, but it can't operate if nobody is selling its product. For young workers who have lived through 2 big downturns during their careers, a job that is safe during bad times is more valuable than a job that pays a little bit more.
You know, I wonder what the financial recession of 2008, what that impact had on the children that lived through that and watched a ton of their parents get fired off the rip from the corporate jobs they had. I wonder when unemployment spiked due to that these kids are living with this trauma. It was a traumatic event for these kids that lost their houses. A lot of them lost their houses or had to downsize tremendously. What effect that has had on the mentality? Because those are the ones now entering the corporate environment right now and being hired. What they think about corporate loyalty when they saw their parents, probably good people putting in who knows how much time into these companies and just getting axed right away. Or even worse, the company itself goes belly up completely. It's not your department, it's the company. Oh, Ted worked 40-something years for this company. Oh, it went belly up. Oh, there goes his retirement. There goes everything. Now he's forced to work at Costco and be like a door checker. You don't think that leaves a dirty taste in your mouth?
Some really cunning workers have made junior jobs significantly more lucrative than managerial jobs by simply working 2 of them. Working from home has kicked off a new
I don't see any AI robots building homes or infrastructure anytime soon. Blue-collar workers are winning. Kind of. That home part is wrong. There are fully automated houses now being built. You should look it up. You should Google AI houses being built. It's scary. Everything from the foundation up, the house is built by a robot. They lay the concrete, everything in one go. It's one uniform piece. You just design it. That's going to be the new job. Yeah, man, some of these houses look crazy. Yeah, 3D printed houses. Look that up. We'll look that up right now, just so you could see. Here it is, boys. And the 3D printed homes are supposed to be stronger and resist much more structural damage.
My name is Ahmed Hussein, and I am the director of 3D printing at Alquist. Here at Alquist, we focus on printing homes that are affordable in the community and for the people in the area. We range between 1,500 square feet and 1,300 for our single family. We use large-scale construction.
And cheaper, as you could imagine. You're cutting out how many workers, how many crews when you automate a 3D printed house. The cost of creating your house now drops dramatically.
3D printers to be able to create affordable housing in rural and unserved areas. So when we arrive on site, we typically work on a slab or a ribbon footing, and what we do is we set the printer up around where the house is going to go. We typically have around 5 or 6 pieces of equipment, and that is printer. And we also have a control panel to operate and monitor the print settings. Then on the material side, we have a silo which holds the dry material, but directly below that we have a mixing system.
This is wild, huh? And see a fully complete one. Of course, bro, it's not the cause of a national shortage, right? You see how different it's gotten, though? You can cut your crews in half. You just need computer nerds. Plumbers still needed. Electrical engineers still needed, by the way. And checkmate. Thanks, brother. Teaching people how to be financially literate, how to save, invest, and will help people way more than some nonsensical Mickey Mouse degree. Mickey Mouse degree. Most people, and myself included, don't know how to turn 100 into 1,000. And yeah, that's all designed by school, by the way. That's all by design. You're not taught about money on purpose. It says, McChilla, thanks, brother. Join the Navy nuclear program, get a 40K sign-on bonus, serve for 6 years, get out, and get several opportunities to make 200,000 plus. Isaac, thanks. There wasn't much of an effect on me and my family when I was growing up. My father has been working at the same warehouse for the past 25 years. You're one of the lucky ones. You're one of the few lucky ones. It had an impact on my family. My father was in construction. Felt that one deeply. Almost lost our house. My 21st birthday, guys, was spent going over another state to talk to the bank with, what was it called? NACA? Me at 21 years old to help my parents not lose their house. So I spent my birthday. And I was on the car ride there. I don't know how many hours. Was wondering why the was this my life? Why did I have to deal with this stuff? Vowed to never have to deal with shit like that ever again. Lessons like that in life, dude, those painful moments teach you a lot.
Trend that is particularly popular with tech workers who work 2 full-time jobs with 2 companies simultaneously and take home 2 salaries.
Here we go, dual income household with no kids, Mouse Utopia experiment happening. Why not do the 100? Thank you again, you're wild. For your benefit, sir, please continue this venture. You have taken a risk, I acknowledge that. I'm honored. Please talk more about your hardships. Well, if you want to know about that day, Dad was working in construction. Obviously, there was no work. People were losing their houses. My family's house, they bought it for $120,000. It was probably worth $20,000. My good friend growing up, they had to foreclose. Their house had a foreclosure. 3 other houses in our neighborhood alone had foreclosure signs. A wealthy Chinese investor came, swooped all of them up for $20,000. Now rents them out for probably $2,000 a month. Made a killing. All the houses in that area are now worth $300,000 plus. He made an absolute killing just to have capital on hand during a downturn. We couldn't afford the payments anymore because we had a variable interest rate. So we had to go to something called NACA. It was essentially a program that allowed the thousands of people that were at risk of foreclosure to go meet with your bank in person and convince them why they should lower your payment, put you on a fixed rate, essentially switch up the way you had your mortgage drawn up, go into a fixed rate and not variable. And me sitting there, obviously being Romanian and knowing English well, and my parents still speaking broken English, and basically they were part of what essentially was the predatory loan process that banks were undertaking during that time. And for my 21st birthday, it was in North Carolina. We were living in Georgia at the time. For my 21st birthday, we had to drive up there. I don't know, it was like a 3-hour drive, wherever it was. 4-hour drive, 5-hour drive, can't remember. I remember sitting in the car wondering, like, dude, normal people at their 21st birthday are drinking alcohol, are partying with their friends, going out of town, are clubbing. I'm sitting here stuck on a car ride to help my parents who don't speak English to hopefully save the house so we don't live on the street. That has a powerful effect on you. And then this was still me in my bug sandwich days. This was me completely tuned out of reality. I was playing video games all day, wasn't doing shit with my life, took time off high school after graduating to find out what I wanted to do with my life. Had no idea, didn't go to college yet, right? 21 years old, lost. So I'm telling you guys, every man has a shot here. It's your actions that matter. Skinny as all hell, pimply face, didn't do shit. Didn't have anything going for me. Didn't talk to any girls. Nothing. Played video games like 12 hours a day. And that reflected in my life and what my life was essentially becoming. Still living with my parents and on a car ride to save the house, dude, during the financial downturn. I graduated high school in 2009. That was during the height of the craziness. And then we went to, like I said, North Carolina or wherever for the stupid event where there was lines miles long. We saw it was all over the news, broadcasted, people waiting for dude. There was hundreds of thousands of people going to these events to try to save their housing situation. Went in there, took hours, finally sat in front of some bank lady pleading with her to save our house. Managed to work. Obviously, we switched through, I don't know what the it was. My parents were paying, I think, $1,200 and had jumped to $1,200. And then it was because of the variable interest rate was going to jump to like $1,600. That was way out of reach. They were paying something like $900 before. And then ended up switching up the mortgage to, I don't know what they did. I don't want to say a refinance, but we redrew the terms. And then Their payment got down to $700 for, I don't know, like 5 years to just make sure they can start making payments. And then it ended up rising to $900 where it stayed about $900 something dollars, which was what they were paying before. And we were behind, man. I remember we were behind like 3 months, over 3 months on payments. At one point, father had no work for months. I mean, the construction and remodeling industry was dead in 08, 09. Dead. And that was it. I was in the car ride and looking at my future and going, dude, I have nothing going for me. I play video games all day, don't talk to anybody. My friends from high school, we've grown apart. They've either went to college somewhere else or don't live in the same town anymore. It's isolated. So I tell men it's so dangerous to become isolated. And then one of my buddies finally calls after I'd been thinking of going to the Navy and trying out for the SEALs. And I almost signed all the paperwork. I was ready. I was training every day like a maniac, running my 5 miles, doing all this shit. And then he calls and tells me to come over to California and just go to the community college there. They have a program where they send you out to the UC, like UCLA. They have a guaranteed program. And I just took that. I had a little bit of money in my pocket, like I had a bullshit job, and I left with maybe like $1,400. He took me in, dude, didn't charge me rent for a while until I found work, and then went to college and went through that whole, hey, it's all bullshit too. Anyways, but the story of that time in particular with the car ride, trying to save my parents' house, was I never wanted to be in that position ever again. I never wanted to miss out on an opportunity like my 21st birthday ever again. And I'll never, ever work for somebody ever again. Because seeing what my father went through, he worked with the same guy, the same construction company for years, and absolutely that's the truth of it. Got predated on for not speaking good English. That guy made millions off his back. And my father was the biggest example in my life of never, ever, ever depend on any other man to make money, ever. Because even when you do right, even when you're a good person, even when you help somebody out the kindness of your heart, they'll still you, is the lesson I learned. They're still looking out for themselves first. So when I went to college, I went with the idea of mine to start a business. So as a doctor or a lawyer is what I was going for. I was either going to hang up my own shingle or start my own practice. That was it. Because I cannot, it's just depending on somebody else to get paid, someone else signing your checks, that. Anyways, I'll tell this story while we're talking about it. Fast forwarded, I go to college, I find out it's all bullshit. My degree doesn't actually matter. I'm talking to people that graduated and they're doing bullshit jobs that aren't tied to what they managed or majored in. So I go, okay, well, an opportunity appears. My dad calls me and says there's a job for the company, one of the companies he was working with that wanted a general manager. And I said, you know what, this, I'm just going to go back home. I drop out of college. I'm going to start a business. I'm dead broke at the moment. I'm eating peanut butter jelly sandwiches. I should bring my friend on the stream so he could tell you the story. I ate the Skiffy cheap-ass store brand peanut butter and the store brand grape jelly for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I couldn't spend more than $50 a month on food. And that's how I was making it. And I was working like 2-3 jobs at one point and like almost flunking my classes because I didn't have enough time in between work and to do homework. I'm dead tired. And then my dad calls me right where I'm just in the middle of college and not knowing what I want to do with the rest of my life and chasing girls, right? This was the period where I got red pilled on women. I'm just chasing girls. I have nothing going for me. I'm using women as a crutch to feel something, a form of self-esteem. And I remember coming back home feeling like a complete failure. That I had a car at a little BMW. My dad sent me money to go buy. Drove from California back to Georgia feeling like I failed. My idea was when I left Georgia, I would come back a man. I would come back a different person. I left as a boy and I would come back somebody with a college education, the first in my family. I'd come back with a high paying job. I'd take everybody, my family out of the situation they were in. And I would retire my father and never have to work again. And I thought by driving back home for a job he had given me and dropping out of college that the last few years were a complete waste and I was a drain on my family because I would have to ask my dad for help here and there because the shit jobs I had weren't enough to survive out there. And every time I made that call of like, Dad, I need some money, I hated it, dude. Gut wrenching. Yeah, I drove across the whole country. And I remember just driving feeling like a complete failure. Like, dude, I wasted everybody's money. I don't have a college diploma. I don't have a degree, right? I don't have shit. And now I'm driving back to work a shit job, doing the same shit basically my father does, right? The same trap, dude. And I go, you know what? I'm just going to do this temporarily to just start my own business. And this is where my freedom came. I started my business with I had a credit card with a $20,000 limit. I had no debt. How old were you at this point? I was 26 or 27, and I'm driving back, dude, dead broke. I have a credit card. That's it. That I don't have anything on. I got in a car accident and ended up getting like $20,000. And so I paid off all my debt. And then I dropped out of school, and I still have some of that debt I'm paying for right now. I just paid the minimum, but it is what it is. And I went home, worked for this company. And during the entire time I was working for this company, I started my business. I started my LLC. I was researching everything. I'd be working 10 plus hours sometimes for this company. Still came home, still learned how to do all this like LLC shit, talk to a lawyer about all whatever was needed, the paper, draw up contracts for estimates, all that stuff. And I started the company on my $20,000 credit card debt, which they tell you, by the way, when you're starting a business, never, ever. It's like rule one in business. Never start a business on credit card debt. They fail 99% of the time. Well, I'm the 1%. So that's not normal, though. Most businesses will fail. I had some unique things going for mine. So all the tools I needed, the material, the client connections, a lot of that came from my father. But the initial website creation and all that other stuff, the QuickBooks in the back end, everything, all the lawyers and the accountants to set up a C Corp and all this shit, I set it up correctly and it cost them money, right? Because you need professionals to help you. I don't know any of this shit. So with a gift of gab and some clients thrown my way from my father, we ended up getting a bunch of business. We ended up getting a lot of repeat customers. We ended up doing a really good job. And the business was successful from, I wouldn't say day one. Our first job, we were in debt $20,000 because we maxed out my credit card. And 3 months in, we finally made money. We were profitable and we were starting to pay down. We paid down my credit card by the end of the year. By the end of the year, guys, I went from peanut butter jelly sandwich diet. And it was so bad. My friend, my roommate at the time, he's like my brother. I went from a peanut butter jelly. He would come home and look at me and be like, bro, do you want a steak? He had money. He had no problem. He's like, do you want a steak, bro? I'm getting sick of watching you eat peanut butter jellies. Every day I would suit up, dude, get in a nice outfit just to go apply for a job. And then I told him, and he'll never forget this. He repeats it to me all the time. I told him this is me punishing myself for not getting my shit together and having a job. And he was just like, dude, you're out of your mind. I don't know how you eat that every day. It was the guilt from constantly having to ask family for money and not having a degree. And I should have already at the age of 25, 24, been graduated, had a job, going through the essentially the trap. Go to college, get a job, get a girl and a wife, have a kid, blah, you're successful. That's the lane that you're put in, right? That society wants you to go down. So 3 months in to the company, we start getting a bunch of business. The thing that helped us the most was putting up ads on Google and whatever so that people can find us. And I printed out for $750, guys, like 10,000 pamphlets saying like 10% off if you work with us. And I remember driving for hours on end, day in and day out to all the neighborhoods in Georgia, all of them in North Georgia where all the money is. People know what I'm talking about that live in the Metro Georgia area. And I drove over that entire north side, house to house in a shitty busted up work truck, sticking pamphlets on people's mailboxes, hoping somebody will call. And we spent $750 doing that. And in the first 3 days, somebody called and it ended up being like a $2,500 job. So we paid off the pamphlets. And then a few days after that, we had someone else with like a $5,000 job. So that was a profitable little endeavor. And from there on, it just grew. I went from peanut butter jelly diet and $20,000 of debt starting up a business to by the end of the year, I bought what was at the time my dream car was a Porsche Cayman S, fully loaded. And your boy was driving a Porsche within 12 months. I went from eating peanut butter, jelly sandwich, store brand, not name brand, not the Skiffies or the Jiffies or whatever they're called, store brand. And not a lease. I bought that. And I bought a Porsche. Dude, I had a black, and not only did I buy it, but I modified it. I made it as fast as a 911. So I had work done to the engine and I put a race exhaust on there, you know, with the ones with the button where you can turn the valves off and on. I could have wail on that shit in the city and people's car alarms would start. It was insane. You could hear me coming from a mile away, dude. Blacked out tinted windows. It was insane. And that to me at that time, it felt like I made it. I think I've learned so many lessons in life about not giving up and putting one foot in front of the other and keep going. And this is what I learned through all of that happening. For me at the time, moving from California to Georgia felt like a curse. And what I want people to understand about this story is that some of the moments in your life where you feel like you're down bad, like it's the biggest curse, right? It's your biggest obstacles sometimes turn out to be your biggest blessings. For me, coming back from California was the biggest blessing ever. I escaped the trap of, college, work, married, kids. And at the time, or while you're in it in the moment, I should say, you may not realize that, or it may seem like everything is hopeless, that why is this happening to you? But I feel like in the hardest times you learn the most, and when you're getting tested actively and you just keep moving without stopping. Don't let it make you quit. You only fail when you quit. But if you just keep going, man, the hardest times in your life that may have seemed like a trap or an obstacle is actually the biggest, most blessed moments of your entire life. Those are the chapters you're going to remember the most. I've done a bunch of things after all of this shit. I'm 33, by the way. I've done a bunch of things after owning a business, making a ton of money, got in trouble with the law, did so much shit. I've experienced life from absolute poverty with not having, plumbing, living in Romania, using an outhouse, to absolutely dining at places that charge thousands of dollars for a plate, being amongst people that you would never believe, seeing famous people dining next to you. I've seen it all, man. I've lived through in a short span too of the business becoming successful and all the other side hustles. I even got into crypto, dude. I first bought Ethereum when it was $34 and Bitcoin when it was $950. And I made a killing. I made a killing off of that shit too. And I'm just trying to share with the channel now. Now the YouTube thing is happening for me. So I've been just trying to share with people just through life advice, dude. Just my experiences. That was a good question, bro, by the way. Need to share more. Need to write these out as episodes. But that's the real, raw truth. All the advice I give, if I do even consider it advice, is just like, hey, here's what happened to me, and this is what you could learn from it. That's it. Omni, thanks, brother, for the 50. Working for yourself is very difficult but rewarding if you make it. I lost thousands starting my construction business and learning on my own. I was close to giving up, but I kept at it until I was profitable. You only fail once you quit, 100%. The stress of being an entrepreneur, there's nothing like it. I haven't had a steady income, dude, since I started the business. And I don't think I'd ever go back. I don't think I'll take the security of a corporate job over being an entrepreneur and stressing about when the next dollar comes ever again. I can't go back to that. I rather know that I get paid a linear amount based on the amount of work I put in. That moment is what I'll get paid. If I choose not to work that day, I get $0. I don't get paid at all. And it may affect my pay in the future. It may mean me losing a client. I haven't had a concept of weekends in years. I don't know what Saturday, Sunday means. When I see people that are excited for Friday to come, for Saturday and Sunday, I absolutely don't. Sometimes I go, what day is it? Saturday? Okay, and it's just work, grind. I don't know about blowing off steam on the weekends. It doesn't exist to me. It's just all a blur. You just work. And the benefit of that is that also I can take time off whenever I want. But I don't live for the weekends. I think I feel for people that live for the weekends and having a shitty job you hate and can't wait for Saturday, Sunday to just reset and forget about my life. Fuck that, dude. I will never. Like I said, the life lessons I've learned, I would take the stress of being an entrepreneur 1000%, dude. I'd rather have the sleepless nights when you lose a big client and your cash flow is all out of sync and you don't even have money to start a job, or you don't even know where you're going to get paid the next month, and so people aren't calling and clients aren't picking. I'd rather deal with all that shit than be a corporate wage slave, dude. Please. Ryan, thanks for the 5. It's true. My divorce is a blessing in disguise. I'm slowly starting to see the pain was real, but I got to use it as fuel. Yeah, dude, some of the worst moments in your life, and this may be one of them that you're going through right now, it will be a blessing in disguise. That's a perfect way to put it. That's exactly how I was feeling when I left, or years after that. It was a blessing in disguise when I left California. In the moment, I felt like absolute failure. I remember there was one moment. I haven't told anybody this, not even my best friend, dude. I was sitting in the car crying, like tears just coming down my face. And I was looking at my phone and my bank balance, and I was like, how the am I going to make it out here, dude? If I have to make one more call to ask for money, it's going to lose my shit. Yeah, man, you have these moments in life. You just have to learn from it and keep going on. I don't know. Some people may be blessed, dude, with a bit of luck and has a soft life, and they don't have that hunger for more, or don't see the pain that, for example, I saw with my father losing his job and shit like that. But that's when you get that armor on and you're ready for the world. For me, I've had a ton of those moments in my life. Okay. Damn, talk about story time, eh? All right, let's continue with this episode. There's like 6 minutes left of it. Okay.
Entire online forums have sprung up in the past 2 years for workers to discuss this practice and share tips and tricks on how to find jobs that can be done.
Someone said, but you were crying in a BMW. No, I wasn't crying in a BMW. I was crying in a Honda at the time. And the BMW I got was like $2,000, bro. And it broke down on me, by the way, in the middle of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, in the hood somewhere. And I had to barely make it to an AutoZone and call a mobile mechanic, again, borrowing money to fix my car to finally make it home. You act like I was in a brand new car, dude. I don't think you were hearing the rest of the story. Yeah, it was a whole ordeal just to get home. It sounds like you still take time for rest and on your time, which is important too. A great reminder to constantly be on the grind mode mentality. Thank you for your content and vulnerability. Yeah, man, it's for as far as the grind goes, it's nonstop. I feel worse if I don't do something, if I'm not aiming for something. I have to be constantly moving because the fear of not having something is constantly pushing me. So that's why I reach for really high goals and it makes me feel good. I don't know about everybody else, but if I have something that seems impossible to do, that galvanizes me to do more. There's some people that are okay with small dreams and small goals. That's not me. I feel like if I don't aim for something that seems impossible, I can't go on. I feel like then I feel trapped and I'll get depressed. As long as I'm striving for something that everybody could say that's impossible, bro, why would you even attempt that? You know, similar thing happened with starting the studio for the YouTube channel. People were like, dude, you're going to do YouTube? Are you sure, bro? Yeah, why not? Here we are today. NX, thanks again, brother. I currently feel that right now. I feel like I've hit a trap at full speed with no skills and no network, and everything around me feels like everything's telling me it's too late for you. I'm the same age as you past January. It's never too late to start, dude. It's just, where is your rock bottom? And is your rock bottom more painful than the current feeling of content, right? Because you're not moving. There's something you have to change completely. I hit my rock bottom quite a few times.
In parallel and keep up with the workload once they've secured the roles. Some people on these forums claim to be working as many as 5 jobs simultaneously by committing 60 to 70 hours a week in their home offices. Just one job can be a lot of work, but highly experienced employees have claimed that the workload and stress of working 2 or 3 junior development roles is still less than working one senior development or team lead role. For motivated workers that want to put in the hours, the multiple job route is more financially rewarding, and it provides them additional job security because if they get laid off from one job, they still have 1 or 2 salaries to fall back on.
Ever since COVID started, what we've seen is that candidates are really only taking remote or hybrid jobs. To be competitive in this market, companies really do have to be either hybrid at the minimum or provide remote work opportunities.
Yeah, COVID changed everything for work-life balance. People found out most office jobs are bullshit and you can do everything remotely. There's no point. Ryan, thanks again. Change starts right now. Got to start somewhere. No better time like the present. Do your best to keep the negative thoughts out and keep pushing on. 100%. The worst thought you could possibly have is doubt. You could have fear. You could use fear for energy. You can have anger. You can have and think of every single emotion, everything besides doubt. I feel like doubt sucks the potential out of a person and has killed more dreams than anything else. I try to eliminate doubt out of my mind, period. Whenever I think of doing something, doubt is the last thing I let run wild.
Reason number 2 is that modern workers have more entrepreneurial ambitions than the generations that came before them. The biggest selling point for young workers in the most prestigious firms in the country are not career advancements, but instead the exit opportunities. From my own experience at 2 different investment banks, most junior bankers do not want a career in investment banking, no matter how well compensated some senior bankers can be. Most banking analysts only want to work in the industry for 2 to 5 years and use that job experience to qualify as a role as a financial executive like a CFO for a medium-sized company or work in private equity or hedge funds. Or they want to start their own company armed with the detailed industry knowledge on how to raise capital from investors and structure a business for growth. The entrepreneurial spirit is not only alive and well amongst finance bros, the rate at which people report wanting to start their own business has shot up to its highest level ever. There were a record 5.4 million business ID numbers created in 2021, with 2022 expected to have broken that record further. Sometimes entrepreneurship is not all that it's cracked up to be, and I would encourage caution to anybody thinking of giving up a stable 9-to-5 job to start their own business.
You don't really have to, you don't give up. See, this is the part of this that annoys me. You don't give up your 9-to-5. You work on your business on the side until the income from that business replaces your 9-to-5. So while I was working for that other company, I was working for mine too when I got off. And on my days off from that company, from the main one that was employing me, I would use those days off to go do the projects that I had quoted before for my company. And I didn't last long at the company I got hired for because Like I said, it ended up being profitable a few months after. And then within that year, it replaced my main salary. It's hard to have 2 jobs, bro. It's the worst. It's the worst. I didn't have a life, dude, for the first, God, I don't know how many months. It was nonstop. I didn't even count the hours I was working because that wasn't a concept. If I had to wake up at 3 a.m. to do something, I did it. I just knew in my heart I could never, ever depend on anybody else. I couldn't let this fail because there wasn't a plan B. That's another thing. Plan Bs. When people tell me they have plan Bs, that's just, I know you're going to fail. Everything I've ever done that has succeeded in my life, I absolutely removed plan B as do or die moment for me. That's why I made it. Plan B is for a... Yeah. When you make it a do or die moment and you cannot fail, period. Everything is riding on that. You'll find a way to make it work. You really will. Plan B, dude, just sucks the enthusiasm out of plan A. It sucks the potential out because you're just going to slack. You're not going to give it 110%. You're always going to default on, but if this doesn't work, I got plan B's there. I'll just do that other shit. No fallback. It's do or die.
But smart decision or not, people are doing it. Caution be damned. The third reason people are unwilling to chase promotions is because it ironically makes it harder for them to progress their career. This is a tricky one, so follow along here. The best way for someone who only wants to work the 9-to-5 job to increase their salary is to change companies every 2 years.
It's good to have alternatives. No, it isn't. If you're actively pursuing a dream and you have an alternative to your dream, you're a fail. You're going to fail. You will fail. Absolutely. Eliminate plan B completely out of your mind. When you have a dream or a goal that you're chasing, eliminate any other option besides that exact goal or dream. Period.
Employees that stick with their companies for longer than that end up earning a mind-blowing 50% less than their peers.
Dude, I've never talked to anybody that succeeded that didn't put themselves with their back up against the wall in that sort of position. I've never, ever, ever heard or spoke to any guy ever that has made it, that had a plan B. Everybody tells me the same variation of the same story, where there was a moment that everything could break, where they didn't know if they were going to make it. They had everything riding on this plan, this deal, this idea, and it was either going to work or bust, and that was it. And you always ask them, well, what was your plan B? Did you have something else that you could have? Nothing. They all say the same shit. Nope. It was either this or bust. I could not let this fail. The mind will come up with answers. The mind will solve problems. Yeah, you need absolute focus and dedication to something. All in, dude. Your brain has to literally be switched on. You know how when you're playing video games and all you can think about is the game and you play them for so long that you even dream about the game? Imagine working on your goal or your dreams in the same manner every single day. My thoughts were dominated by how to make my business successful. I didn't think about anything else but my business. Women and all that other shit, dude, my mind was zeroed in, tunnel vision. I didn't give a fuck about any hoes, getting late, none of that shit that I was doing in college. I didn't give a shit about nothing, nobody, anything. But how do I get this business off the ground and successful? Period. I wish I could put you guys in my brain so you could download that moment in my life so you can see how obsessed I was with making that shit successful. Anything I Googled, I didn't watch movies, didn't watch any shows, didn't watch shit on YouTube, no episodes, no Dragon Ball Z, no anime, nothing, dude, nothing. All my life revolved around in that initial year is literally the business. I was willing to sacrifice everything. I had no choice. There was no plan B. It was this or be nothing and a nobody the rest of your life. All the dreams of having all those riches and people liking you and being someone of importance and changing lives, all that shit down the drain if you didn't make this dream work. That's how you have to feel. That's how you have to think. That's how you'll become successful. When I've talked to successful people, they have that same story. And when I talk to people that are on their way with like an idea and they're working on it in the early years, oh my God, dude. It's the same exact thing. They're absolutely obsessed. They only will talk about their business and what they've done and how they've succeeded or what roadblocks they hit and what their next move is and what they've researched to do. And that's it, dude. Non-stop. And I go, that guy's going to make it. There's no way somebody with this amount of effort and the amount of time they're putting in will fail, period. It's like the universal formula for success is like time plus effort equals success. That's really what it is. Yeah, and then someone says, "Here we go. Here's how you have a bug eating mentality, bro. You had your father helping you out. If you didn't have that, who knows what would have happened?" Again, so he doesn't listen to the fact that I spent that money to make the pamphlets, and I went to 10,000 houses, and I stuck all the pamphlets on people's mailboxes, and then I started making money off that. That with the Google, getting on Google, getting your business registered on Google, so when people searched whatever your business is that you offer, you come up. Is remodeling. So I have a remodeling, still have it to this day, the remodeling business. So when you search remodeling in Atlanta, my shit pops up. I'm one of the first searches. You can't lose when you put in enough time and effort. Yeah, dude, that formula is magic. Because if you put in only a little bit of time, but maximal effort, you will succeed. Vice versa. If you put in a ton or very little of one or the other, you will fail. Both. If you do like a two on a time, 3 on an effort out of 10, you're not going to make it, dude, no matter what. It'll take you probably 100 years to get there. But if you put 10 effort, 10 time, that's how you get there the fastest. Some people have gifts and they could put in maximal effort with very little time and they get there. Those are the gifted ones. Those are the ones we call lucky. But really, they were in the right place at the right time, had everything for them, the skill to make it happen. Because people lack this ability to identify opportunities in their life as well. That's a talent. That's a skill. You have to learn. That's BS. Don't gas up people. Most fail. Yeah, exactly. Most fail because they don't put in the effort or the time. That's the real truth. Most people fail because what they consider hardcore effort is absolute bullshit. Most people don't know what real hard work is. Everybody who does those correctly succeeds that I've ever met. But, keep telling yourself. Most people do shit half-assed. That's the brutal truth of society today. Most people attempt their dreams half-assed. They don't really try hard. But you'll have people here in the comment section once the video gets released. You'll have people right here in the live chat that'll say the same shit, dude. Yeah, but most people fail. Yeah, this is the same guy that won't start his business because he read the 99% statistic. 99% of businesses will fail in the first 5 years. Yeah, I shouldn't start. It seems like a bad investment. Yeah, you don't believe in yourself. Why the fuck would you even succeed? Even if you finally mustered up the courage, you won't give it enough effort. You won't sacrifice everything needed to make your dream come true. So you're stuck eating bug sandwiches in your fucking cubicle at the office. That is your destiny. That's the brutal truth. Are you gonna die for your dream or not? The guys that are willing to die for their dreams will succeed. Nobody wants to commit to that level.
Who were less loyal and were constantly shopping around for better offers from different employers. The real trick is to do this while maintaining a good relationship with the companies and managers they move between. Getting a promotion in a company resets the clock on when a smart employee can switch companies without leaving a bad impression with their current employer. If someone is planning to make the scheduled job hop, but they are only a month into their new role after receiving a promotion, they are unlikely to get a good reference from their outgoing company, because now that company has to find a new employee for a job that was only just filled. A bad reference from a frustrated ex-manager will make it harder to land the new job and negotiate a competitive salary. If the employee just stays in their current role and passes up any promotions, they can rely on a good reference from the same manager that they worked under the entire time. The fourth reason that people are no longer willing to work for a promotion is simply because they don't want them. More people are choosing mental health and free time over money and opportunity, because being...
The reason they're choosing free time over money like that is because the money is not high enough. People have no problem pouring their life into a job if it actually paid enough, if it was respectable work, if it made a difference. People would love to invest in something like that. But when you offer people meager wages to be a slave and easily replaceable, they don't want to show loyalty. Of course, why would they? Samuel, thanks, brother. I'm in the process of buying my first home at 21, and I'm buying a duplex so that way it helps me pay it off. That's a tremendous thing that you're doing, by the way. Your ticket to freedom, you're well on your way. You're getting that special loan to get the duplex that you're going to live into for a year. Then you're going to move out. You're going to rent the other space. Everything gets paid off. And then you're going to roll into another loan. And then you're going to have like 2-3 properties very shortly. And you're going to roll all those into that special loan based on your assets. And you're done. Your ticket to freedom. You're well on your way, brother. I wish I did what you're doing at your age, because that's the quickest way to escape the trap.
Removed from the corporate bubble has made them realize that there is much more to life than making as much money as they possibly can. A lot of young workers have become disenfranchised because they realize no matter how hard they work, they are going to struggle to achieve traditional financial goals like buying a house and having a normal retirement, so they are seeking out easy work and pursuing alternative lifestyles like video gaming or low-budget travel by living in a converted van. As more workers learn of these 4 reasons to reject the traditional career promotions, companies are going to have to face some big problems. Promotions are the biggest incentives that large companies have to motivate non-executive level employees to do more than the bare minimum to not get fired. The promise of a promotion, if targets are met, is often cheaper than performance-based bonuses. Some companies pay their executives extremely high salaries, not because of the hard work they do, but because they want all of their employees to work like crazy for the chance that they too one day could be a fat cat.
Of digital marketing, and you get offered a promotion that's in IT because digital marketing has a lot of technical skills, then should I step out into IT if my goal is to be the CMO? And the answer is no, right? So if it's going to take you off your long-term path, you don't want to do that.
If people don't want the promotions or see that they will never make it to the level where they make more money for less work, then the whole system stops working and it spells the end of the traditional career. Workers have also realized that hard work alone will never make them a CEO, and becoming a highly compensated chief executive requires a totally different strategy from what you might expect, starting with an engineering degree instead of a business degree people would expect. If you want to find out the other 6 steps that 80% of Fortune 500 CEOs took to land their multi-million-dollar roles, then go and watch my video on how to be.
It's who you know, not what you know. That's how they land their CEO gigs. Omni, thanks, bro. There's no such thing as luck. Luck is when preparation meets opportunity. Exactly. I feel that one strongly. People tell me I'm so lucky. That's a perfect little saying, dude. My YouTube channel, guys, here's how it got successful. I was posting 6 videos a day. 6 videos a day. Most creators post 1 a day because they want to avoid. It's called creator burnout. I invested a ton of money into the studio. I got good sounding mics, good looking cameras, try to dress well, and post 6 videos a day until something hits. And something finally hit. Yeah, the harder you work, the luckier you get. That's true. Jacob, thanks, brother. Started as a junior software engineer 11 years ago for $15 an hour and jumped about every 2 years. From $48,000 to $72,000 to $95,000 to $105,000 and now $127,000. Your company can replace you in 2 weeks. There's no loyalty. Exactly. So burnout is a real dream killer. If you go for too long with all you have, you'll wither and disappear. Well, it depends how strongly you believe in your dream. See, burnout is just dependent on how passionate you are of the thing you're chasing. Again, you become very passionate about the thing you're chasing when you remove plan B. So burnout doesn't become a thing when there is nothing else to replace it. And by the way, I fight burnout by just remembering where I came from, by seeing the state of some people's lives currently. Like when I see homeless people on the street, I try to remember that right away. And I go, there's this homeless dude that has one leg that's busted up and he's on crutches. And one of the crutches doesn't have like the support on his arm anymore. And so he duct tapes one of the crutches to his arm and it's eaten into his arm. I've given him money before. It eats into his arm where the support is. So he can walk, with his crutches and ask for money. And I look at that dude when I drive by and I go, I don't give a how tired I am. Don't give a about anything. Burnout is bullshit in my mind when I see the state of that guy's life. When I see what that dude's going through, I stop complaining right away about my life. I don't care that I don't want to do this today or any other day in the future, or how hard my situation may seem to me, or just the difficulty my brain tries to tell me. I don't give a shit. I gave him money for a crutch, dude. Yeah, I don't care. So when people say, well, I feel burned out, well, I'm like, well, how bad do you want this shit then? Because there's a dude on the cross street next to my house walking with a crutch, digging into his arm, asking for a few dollars. You still feel that burnout?